watched the trainers. I watched what they did, how they operated, how they got their word across, how they got their message across.
Lou Duva wasn't just a boxing trainer. He was a force of nature. Loud, fiery, brutally honest, and fiercely loyal, Duva was the heart and soul of American boxing through the 70s, 80s, and 90s. He trained champions like Evander Holyfield, Pernell Whitaker, Meldrick Taylor, and Vinny Pazienza.
To try and exercise and to try and make themselves stronger, to make themselves better. They did all that in the old days.
Earning a reputation as one of the sport's greatest strategists. But along with that brilliance came something else: his temper. Duva didn't mince words. If he respected you, he'd say it proudly. If he didn't, well, you'd hear about that too. Over decades in boxing, Duva encountered fighters he admired deeply and others he simply couldn't stand. Whether it was arrogance, lack of discipline, or dirty tactics, there were a few names that stuck with him for all the wrong reasons. Here are the 6 boxers Lou Duva openly or privately admitted he hated the most. The ones who clashed with his principles, his fighters, or his fiery sense of justice inside the ring.
Set, here it is. Now let's grab on. He pushed me down. See, he's pushing me. All right, now we're looking at the action, and you said you believe that.
1. Ricardo Mayorga. Lou Duva had seen wild fighters before, but Ricardo Mayorga pushed his patience to the limit. The Nicaraguan brawler was known for his trash talk, smoking cigarettes at press conferences and insulting opponents' families. Duva, who valued respect and class in boxing, found Mayorga's antics disgraceful. Mayorga's fights with Duva's protege, Vernon Forrest, sealed the bitterness. Mayorga shocked the world by knocking out Forrest, one of Duva's proudest students, in 2003. But it wasn't the loss that stung. It was Mayorga's behavior afterward. Taunting, laughing, and refusing to show respect. Ricardo Mayorga didn't just beat Vernon, Duva once said. He mocked everything boxing stands for. For Duva, Mayorga represented the new kind of fighter he hated: loud, reckless, and without honor. 2. Hector Camacho. Hector Camacho was electric in the ring, fast, flashy, and gifted beyond measure.
Round 4 now. Camacho comes out winging. He's got to do something. He just can't run. But Chavez has him against the ropes.
But Lou Duva couldn't stand him. Why? Because Camacho's arrogance, partying, and lack of discipline made him, in Duva's eyes, a waste of pure talent. Duva clashed with Camacho multiple times throughout the 1980s. He believed that Camacho cared more about showmanship than skill, more about fame than legacy. The kid could have been one of the greatest, Duva said, but he let his mouth move faster than his hands. What truly angered Duva was Camacho's disrespect toward opponents. His constant taunting and refusal to take training seriously were the exact opposite of everything Duva taught his fighters.
When you gotta get off. And sometimes you can get away with telling the fighter what to do, and sometimes you listen, and sometimes you don't listen.
To him, Camacho was proof that talent without respect meant nothing. 3. Riddick Bowe. Riddick Bowe was a heavyweight with everything: size, power, and natural ability. But he was also the kind of fighter Lou Duva had no patience for. Duva respected effort, not excuses. Bowe, in his eyes, wasted potential by refusing to stay in shape and surrounding himself with bad influences. Their relationship turned downright hostile during the early 90s when Bowe's team had several run-ins with Duva's camp. Things exploded in 1996 during the infamous Fan Man incident when Duva, working in Evander Holyfield's corner, collapsed during the chaos that erupted mid-fight.
Discipline in the ring. He's got all his anger under control in the ring. We'll see if it bears true.
Duva later said Bowe's entourage behaved like a circus, showing no concern for anyone else in the ring. He never forgave Bowe's lack of discipline. He could have ruled the heavyweight division, Duva said, but he let laziness destroy him. 4. Andrew Golota. If there was one fighter who truly got under Lou Duva's skin, it was Andrew Golota. Ironically, Duva was once in Golota's corner, but their relationship became one of the most infamous in boxing history. Duva trained Golota leading up to his fights with Riddick Bowe in 1996. Golota was dominating both times, until he repeatedly hit Bowe with low blows, leading to disqualifications and massive brawls that spilled into the crowd. The sight of Duva being carried out of the ring on a stretcher after trying to restore order became one of the sport's unforgettable moments. Duva was furious. He had the fight in his hands and threw it away, he said. "You can't train heart, and you can't fix stupid." Even years later, Duva couldn't hide his disappointment. He believed Golota had the talent to be a world champion but lacked the mental strength to stay composed. He was a great fighter trapped in his own head, Duva said bitterly. 5. Mike Tyson. Lou Duva had a complicated relationship with Mike Tyson. On one hand, he respected Tyson's ferocity and power. On the other, he despised his behavior, especially the chaos outside the ring. Duva believed Tyson's career was a tragedy of wasted potential. He had it all: speed, timing, power, but he let the wrong people control his life, Duva said. The turning point came after Tyson bit Evander Holyfield's ear in 1997. Holyfield, one of Duva's proudest fighters, had fought with heart, skill, and dignity. Tyson's act in Duva's eyes was unforgivable. "You don't bite a man in the ring," Duva said angrily. "That's not boxing. That's madness." For the rest of his life, Duva refused to include Tyson among the true greats. He was dangerous, Duva said, but he wasn't a champion of the heart. 6. Zab Judah. Lou Duva had high hopes for Zab Judah early on. The Brooklyn-born boxer had lightning-fast reflexes and charisma to match. But as Judah's career unfolded, Duva's admiration turned to frustration. Judah's infamous 2001 meltdown against Kostya Tszyu, when he attacked the referee after being knocked out, was the final straw for Duva. "You lose, you take it like a man," he said. "You don't attack the referee like a spoiled kid." Duva saw Judah as another example of wasted potential. He had the tools to be one of the best, Duva said, but he couldn't control his temper. That's poison for a fighter. What upset Duva most was how Judah's temper overshadowed his talent. To him, Judah symbolized a new generation that lacked the discipline and humility of the old-school champions. Lou Duva was never afraid to speak his mind. The fighters he hated weren't always the worst in the ring, but they were, in his eyes, the ones who disrespected boxing's sacred code. He could forgive defeat, but he couldn't forgive arrogance, laziness, or a lack of heart. For Duva, boxing wasn't about fame or money. It was about integrity. Whether it was Andrew Golota's meltdowns, Mike Tyson's chaos, or Ricardo Mayorga's disrespect, Duva saw each as a betrayal of what made boxing great. In the end, his words carried the weight of a man who loved the sport more than himself. "Boxing gave me everything," Duva once said. "All I ever wanted was for the fighters to respect it the way I did." These 6 boxers, Mayorga, Camacho, Bowe, Golota, Tyson, and Judah, might have been talented, even brilliant at times. But to Lou Duva, they were reminders that skill means nothing without discipline, and talent means nothing without heart.